try and get a microphone to you a question, otherwise you've got a big voice. Just shout! Now, let's get the people out there who I'm sure you want to meet. First, so please put your hands together. The wonderful director of the film, Harald Zwart! Joining Harald, you've got his Jason in the film we have together with Campbell Bower! As well as that, taking the role of Simon, please welcome Robert Sheehan! And last but by no means least, she plays Carrie in the film. It's Lily Collins!
I think it's your tea, dear.
Fantastic to have you all here. If you do wish to tweet throughout this, feel free. The hashtag is Warsaw Instruments, so you may have your phones out to do that. If I can ask if you want photos, we do those at the end rather than throughout the Q&A. That would be marvellous. Alright, let me start the ball rolling then. First of all, if I could turn to you, Harald. You have directed coming-of-age stories before, usually featuring a male as the lead. What's the idea of telling a coming-of-age story with such a strong female character in the lead role? One of the things that attracts us to this film.
Yeah, you could say that Karate Kid was a bit for my son, and this one was for Stella, my daughter, who needs some good role models. She's way too young to see the movie, but she saw it before the monsters were added, so she loved it then. And now, I think she's going to be terrified.
Yes, because it really doesn't pull any punches. Everyone's seen the movie, you can talk about the finer points to the demon dollar stop. Wow, that's something out of a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's the idea that people ask me, so didn't you consider your audience before this? And I just wanted to make a really great movie that I'd love to watch too. And to dumb things down just because people are young, I don't think we need to do that. And I think they can take quite a few things. I think audiences today are much more sophisticated when I was young, which isn't that long ago, by the way. Don't age myself too much here, but and I think people like to be scared, and as long as I was constantly thinking, what would I show my own kids? And I think as long as there's not too much gore and blood and that speculative action, or actually girls in jeopardy, which I think is a little boring after a while. They need to stand up for themselves. I think they can absolutely take a few good jumps. And I was inspired by The Exorcist and the good old Thing, the original Thing. I love the idea of something cracking apart and trying to reassemble itself. And I try to make it as realistic as possible.
Well, while we're on the subject of a female character who isn't just in any way a damsel in distress, Lily, I mean, she is, I'm imagining, a dream for an actress to play, because she is that rare thing, which is a really strong female lead character in a film. Is that what attracted you to the part?
Yeah, I guess the fact that Clary is very normal. She cries, she's confused, she's going through an identity crisis, which I know I sure did. I don't think anyone really ever fully gets over. But she embraces that, and she finds the strength in her weaknesses. And she ends up kicking major butt and hanging with the guys, but all the while still having those very feminine young girl moments that make her very real. So I think it was kind of this journey that she goes on, but never losing sight of how she actually is very normal as well. Because I think it's too easy to play it very superhuman, but that's not relatable to the normal person. So that's what really drew me to her.
And on the subject of kicking butt, she does kick butt alongside your character, JD. Jace is, he is a cool guy. I think he's kind of like the guy most guys would like to be, where he's a mysterious stranger who turns up, is incredibly charming, and can slay demons with one hand tied behind his back. He must have been a fun role.
Yeah, he's everything that I'm not. Performance is always a very cathartic process for me, and I'm not particularly cool, put it that way. He was a great character to play. It was tough. It was. I put a lot of work and a lot of effort into it. A lot of the characters that I played beforehand have been fairly, let's say, soft or rounded physically. So in order to sort of unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which way you look at it, you have the book and there's the guy there with his shirt off and he's looking pretty buff and pretty hench, and so you have to, I had to sort of get into that sort of physical shape But I've always liked to push myself. I've always liked to sort of, challenge myself in some way, shape or form. I think that, without that, I sort of probably would get quite bored. I have quite short attention spans, you might be able to tell. It was fun and it was difficult, but, learning how to sort of hone my skills in terms of stunts and fighting was a real joy. But, I did come out of it the other side going, thank you. Thank God it's Christmas.
And the other character out of this triumvirate we're talking about now, played by yourself, Robert, is Simon. Now, he's kind of like the eyes and ears of the audience to this fantastical world. And he deals with seeing a lot of this stuff in a very funny way. I love the line, "The werewolves are coming to save us." I never thought I'd say that. But was he a fun character for you as well, or did you kind of, some of the time, want a sword in your hand and out there demon slaying?
There's always comedy to be juiced from being the guy at the back of the group who's not doing any of the slaying, he's doing all of the cowering. And also, tumbling into this world and being the normalized and this very, very abnormal world, you get to kind of frown and ask, what the hell is going on? Like every 5 or 10 minutes, And it's true, the audience do need someone like that. And it is myself, and it's also Lily's character, Clary, who is very much the normal person tumbling into this crazy world. But yeah, it was lovely fun. And the good thing about Simon and about keeping that was Harold saying, look, it's got to be real. It's got to be real because my instinct tends to be toward performance and toward gesticulating wildly in every direction.
You may have seen it in my other work, right?
But it was very much Harald Zwart reining me back and going, it's got to be real, it's got to be absolutely real. This guy is, it's very normal, somewhat elitist, somewhat bookish, so it was very much, it was kind of new discovery for me, and it was real fun, really, really enjoyable.
Oh, I think we have any questions from the floor on that. Simple hand in the air. Yes, right there.
Hello, I'm Katie from Monday Mum.
Hello, Katie from Monday Moms.
I was just wondering, I saw the film was amazing. You filmed in a lot of good sets, like amazing sets. Is there one that you really enjoyed filming?
I think the first one I remember just kind of my jaw dropped, and very reminiscent of the scene actually. Jamie opened the door to the Institute Library for me to just see it for the first time, and I just stood there and my mouth opened just like Larry. Because I was a huge fan of the books, before I was cast, so you automatically picture what you assume it's going to look like, and it, for me, was hands down exactly how I pictured it, if not even better. And the depth of the sets and the intricacy of all the props that you never even saw. And there were bookcases of books with what you think is just the spine of a book, but it was complete, novels that you never really knew existed, and all the weapons and the things that were made for it. So really, that set to me was just pure magic. Yeah.
We have another question from the man in the grey t-shirt just behind you, so yes.
Hi Lily, question for you. You mentioned about kicking butt in the film. Did you have to do any training to get into shape for the movie, and what was the hardest thing you had to do?
Yeah, we all did actually. Well, you did train,
Except
but not as much.
My training was very much sleep. Just have a sleep in. The rest of them are going to go and do stunt choreography. You just show up for the filming bit and put a t-shirt on.
Or take the t-shirt off.
Exactly, maybe that also happens.
I trained for 3 months before filming out in Los Angeles, and then every day before, during, or after work with the stunt department, as well as our physical fitness trainer. I've always been an active person, though, and I really enjoy getting down and bruised, I guess. Especially with this one, I have to hang with all the guys and keep up in heels and a very short dress for the guys.
And why are you two getting all sexy? Why are you coming out, ladies? What do I take? Like dogs? Anyone?
Everyone has to be covered.
I was just jealous of the heels, you know.
Well, yeah, Kevin got to our platform.
That's
pretty
true.
cool. But yeah, I guess the hardest part for me physically was that I didn't train in the outfits except for the day before, you know, and then I'm thrust into it with these heels and this dress. And as Lily, it was very awkward, but I could just pawn it off on Clary. So I never twisted an ankle, and I barely tripped. I just bruised a lot. Battle scars.
You're going to do a lot more butt kicking in a second.
Yes, but the heels are lower.
Yeah.
What's the vitamin that stops you bruising? Like
Arnica.
K or something?
Arnica, I take it every day.
Iron pills also.
Iron, or, you know, we need to boost
Doesn't
people.
make a difference on me.
Vitamin B12.
Like porcelain.
That's a better word than pale. Thank you.
Like a geisha doll.
There you go.
Yes, you say.
I've got a question for Jamie. I interviewed you some years ago when you were doing a TV series called The Prisoner.
Yeah.
And you said, perhaps jokingly then, that you'd always have some kind of body art, a tattoo, to mark each of your projects. I wondered if that's still true, and if you had anything to mark the filming of this movie.
Yeah, I'm getting, I was actually meant to go in today, but the tattoo parlour around the corner of First Street is closed today, so I get most of my stuff done. Yeah, I'm getting, I Am After All What You Made Me, which is a quote from one of the books, one of the later books, with 2 roses on my back. But like recently I got a skull and a cross, and my arm and the back of my legs are all done, so yeah.
This one is very cool. It's a ball and chain.
Well, that was from The Prisoner. That was,
And we need to cover it all up every day when we do it.
It's my own stupid problem that I'm sitting in there for like 5 hours, 6 hours.
And yet you've gotten 5 since the last movie.
Yeah.
You already had 4 hours. Joey's going to kill you.
Yeah. Well, I've got conversations with Gersha going on next week, our costume designer, so I think I'll be able to
Long
sleeve and glass from now
How
on.
was it going to cover Jamie up each day?
Was it good?
Was it quite hard to do to cover you up?
Yeah. I mean, it took about 4 hours to cover up, and then to put on the tattoos over the top. But
Why don't you just tattoo the tattoos when you
That's what Kevin said, didn't he? Kevin said he wants to get the neck one.
Yeah, that's
and then
full on.
have you guys pay for it to be removed again.
They fade. That's the problem with these rooms, isn't it? They don't stay permanent.
it's true.
Yeah.
But I quite like having them there. I quite like having them sort of there underneath the like makeup and the skin. I still sort of like to know that I'm still Jamie underneath all that. At the end of the day, like that's sort of one of the reasons that I have them. It's like just so that it's me. You know, wherever I go, I know who I am.
Yes, a question I just said.
Hi, Sharon from Irish Shadowhunter.com.
Irish Shadowhunter fans. Oh my God, it's good to have you here. Finally.
It's about time, women.
It's actually a question. We met Jamie a couple of weeks ago in the event with Cassandra, and I know I asked you a question at the time. So this is for Rob and Lily. Jamie, I suppose you've already been involved in like a big franchise and the whole media hype leading up to a big franchise. I just want to know how you guys are dealing with everything that's kind of the whole build up to the release of the movie and the hype and expectation of the movie.
Well, I think these guys have been on more of a significant promotional tour than me. I was doing a small film, and so I wasn't available up until I was at Comic-Con and then the LA press and then Toronto, and so even just that has just turned me upside down. Seriously, it's been fairly hysterical. You know, there's been a feverish anticipation amongst the fans, and every time we show up to a premiere, there's hundreds of fans that have been there for 12 hours camped out. And it absolutely bowls me over. I mean, I remember we were in Toronto and we'd done some stuff, and then the next day we got up for morning television, myself and yourself, and then I promptly went back to bed after morning television, and then got back up, and I was kind of just, having done a premiere like the night or the night before, I just, the thoughts of another premiere ahead was just
There's a lot of work for Rob when he does premieres.
but it was just, it was also just kind of mustering the energy and the enthusiasm. But the thing is, once I got there, the fanaticism and the energy just absolutely just coasted me along, you know, and it was just infectious, and that was, you know, due to the fans. So, you know, everything has been, you know, for me, thankfully, adrenaline has kicked in the key moments, like right now, for example. So yeah, it's been an absolute eye-opener. I mean, from, like, Comic-Con was my first real direct, you know, it was my first experience of the expectation, you know, like my first eyewitness, you know, experience. Because, you know, I'm not a very savvy social media person. I'm not on kind of checking the traffic. I don't really know how to use Twitter very well. So it was there that I first realized, wow, you know, the anticipation's huge. And since then, it's been building and building. And it's, you know, when we show up to premieres, it's kind of, at times it's like Beatlemania. You know, we're getting out of our cars, there's hundreds of people screaming, and it's just, it's very hard to compute at times.
My favourite thing the other day was that we were in LA and you went, God, I feel like the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. No, and I'm saying, I heard him go, yeah, not quite.
There was about 1,000 people there.
It was silence, and then,
That was enough for me to feel like Keith Richards.
No, it's been really, I think, eye-opening, because I was a fan, you know, and to go to these malls and see, with every one, it progressively gets more exciting. There's more people, there's more screens, more weird anecdotes. It's very special to see, be there hands-on, see them up close and personal, and it's just, I guess the weirdest moments for me are like in Los Angeles when I go to a mall that I've shopped at since I was 12, and now there's like massive pictures of our faces everywhere, and you know, at my local coffee shops now, there's like all these billboards and people wearing like the t-shirts and stuff. It's very strange, but it's really exciting, and I don't think there's any way that you can ever fully prepare. I wouldn't want to prepare for anything because I like the spontaneity of it all, and I want everything to be as exciting as it should be. Because when you set an expectation, either it's above or below, but if you set nothing, then it is what it is, and it makes it special regardless.
And you're Keith Richards, you know.
Exactly. Just roll up.
Yeah. My first meeting was just I went to the book signing with Cassandra at the LA Book Festival, and my wife and I went, and we went into the building, and there was, oh God, all those people were they waiting for. And then we went inside, and we realized that line around that building connected with the one indoor, and they were all coming for us, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is unbelievable. And it was like the first time I ever saw these screaming fans. And then they got up and they asked questions, and they were really smart, intelligent questions. And I thought the way Cassandra deals with them too, she's like a stand-up comedian. She just keeps them laughing, and she answers back and gives them attitude, and she's just a very cool lady.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Closer to home for you, Robbie. What's the reaction been like to Love Hate? Because you've been kind of charming the backsides of the British public with that one. And is it kind of a faithful representation of the whole kind of Irish Dublin criminal underworld, do you think? Or is there a bit of poetic license going on in there as well?
Well, to be honest, I've been, since Love Hate has come on English TV, I have not been on the continent. I've been away working. So all of the reaction that I've been hearing about has been remote. But certainly as regards the show being an honest depiction of the Irish gangster underworld, I honestly, even though I'm in the show, I'm not an authority to ask on that subject because I didn't approach the role in any methodical way. I didn't spend any time with real members of the gangster underworld as the media has coined them. But I think what it is I think, well, it's fairly honest in the sense that a lot of the storylines that Love Hate have been taken somewhat from the Irish media about stories that have happened and modified slightly and changed and dramatized. So there is a kind of basis of honesty for a lot of the crimes that the characters undergo. There's a lot of honesty in what they do because these things have actually happened, and have been reported in the media. So, and the rest is just good writing. The rest is just good writing by Stuart Carolan. It's just one man who straps himself to the beast and writes the whole show. He's written all 3 series. So, so that's basically as much evidence as I can give on that, you know.
Right, I think we've got another question over here.
I just have to say, Jimmy, I saw you in Camelot years ago, and I've read the book before that, and I fantastically Jakes from the start of seeing you there. But my question for you is, you said in an interview before that you found that the fans weren't responding to you well. Do you feel like that's changed now the closer we've gotten to the movie, or how do you feel about it now?
I think, you know, upon being cast, I was very aware of the negative reaction from the fandom. I mean, I think that, you know, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't aware of that. You know, that reaction was based on Image and Image Looks alone, and that was 2.5 years ago. And I think, you know, as an actor and as a performer, I'm very much aware of the fact that, you know, my job is to change both, you know, physically and emotionally. And that was what hurt the most, was that because of the fact that people were judging me based on nothing. I've been told not to swear, but I'm getting very ignorant by the No, please, no, it's totally fine, and I get it. I mean, you know, sometimes particularly with like social media, or particularly with something like the internet, there is no brain-to-hand coordination. People don't think. It's like this continuous diarrhea, and people don't really understand that affects people. And I think that particularly now, and I think that what's happened in recent history should show the fact, like particularly with young people, that is not acceptable. I just don't think that that's acceptable in any way, shape or form. I'm not saying that, you know, it affected me in such a way, because, you know, it hasn't. It affected me, sure, somewhat, but not, you know, not too much. Have I seen the reaction change? Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, it's always hard for anybody in our position as an actor, I suppose, to receive praise, because I think naturally as people we are, you know, quite self-deprecating, and we do what we do because I think sometimes we're looking for recognition in some way, shape or form. So I've seen a reaction. You know, I was very fortunate enough to receive a book, you know, that had been made by you guys, by the family, that, you know, that came together, and that is something that I look at every day and that I'm very grateful for, you know, and I carry it with me, and it's in my bag, and it's, you know, this book of all these pictures that with people that have posters that say Jamie is Jason around the world, and that is like, it's incredibly, like, I feel incredibly honoured to have that. But, you know, I just, if there's one thing that someone can take from this sort of just answer, I suppose, or this sort of just monologue, is that, you know, next time before you judge anyone, just use your brain. Don't be an idiot. Like, it's annoying.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I really like the CGI in the film. I'm not always a big fan of CGI, but I think it came in when it was in the beginning of the well. How did you agree cast work with that? I mean, sometimes you've worked out before, but I think it's difficult because we only see green screen. We don't really know how it works. It's amazing on the big screen.
Yeah, the great thing about Harold, I think what stuck out from my first meeting with him was that it wasn't a movie about CGI or green screen. It was character and emotion, and you could wipe away all the other stuff and you get the same storyline. It's just as strong, and the other stuff is like icing on top. The two things, I guess, that stick out the most CGI-wise is the scene when I stop the demons and they all freeze in time, and Bobby and I and a couple of others were bouncing underneath tennis balls on sticks. Very strange, like fighting for our life. And he kept drawing pictures on them to make us laugh. And I mean, like, after the fifth take, it's not funny anymore. You're just like, we just get it done. It just, yeah, and you know, it's just not normal to be doing that. Obviously, I don't do that my free time. And then the other scene, I guess, is the dog scene, you know, when it changes shape and it comes after me and I'm setting things on fire and all that. There was nothing to look at. You just clapped or something. You were like, it's there! It's there! Like,
You're scaring her as much as I can.
Yeah, and that
It's Harold jumping out from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
What normally does the trick, it makes a huge loud noise, and if you lower the temperature of the setting of the sound, then you can make some huge noises and you get a natural reaction.
It sounds like he's joking, but he's dead
Exactly.
serious.
No, because the parts where the body parts are bulging back together on the floor, all he said to me, and it made sense when I saw the movie. That's only how it made sense. He said, okay, they're growing, now they're merging. I'm like, looking confused. I was like, what is he talking about? And then it actually plays into like, oh my god, they're merging. I don't know what's going on. And it's impossible to describe kind of what the CGI was, because I've never seen CGI like that anyway. But luckily it played into it.
Yeah, so with Eric, when Eric gets bumped into by Isabel, Harold was literally standing like under, you can't see him, he's out of shot, but he's like there, pushing the actor. So
He's like, not reacting well enough.
If Harold ever writes a book, there'll be a whole chapter on how to scare an actor without using too much CGI.
You talk about the Mario switch too, the cup thing.
Oh yeah, the cup thing, you know, when I put my hand through and pull out the cup. Well, we had an amazing prop guy, this guy Mario, and every time I would go down, like, he was holding the card like this, and I would go down, and every time he'd just be like, staring at me, this moment of fear, and I always use just Mario gazing up at me. Like, it's just not normal, you know, it's just bizarre.
What's fascinating about this industry is that, like when you shoot, things are made so much more difficult than they have to be. Like with the stellates, for instance, like the things that carve the rooms, we had battery packs like the size of this bottle of water strapped to our backs with wires being taped down our entire arms, like down our backs. And then I went to like some thing the other day, some science thing. The merchandise is just a battery operated like I was like, why do you have that when we were sitting? Fucking hell, come on. That was not a luxury being a mundane. None of the shadow outer technology I was laboured down with. You know, even like the lights, the witch lights. You know, there were times when there was a wire running up your arm.
You gave me the one that was battery operated. You looked at me like, are you insane?
Yes. Yeah, we've got bad treatment comparatively.
I think we've got time for a couple more questions. Yes, you can.
I've got a question from Sugar Cake. Well, hi.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
If you guys could choose to draw a room in real life, what would it be?
Like made up one.
Yeah, like make up one. Anyone make one.
As in what power would it have to? So okay, I see.
I created one the other day. All my spare time. No, I was asked to draw one on someone, and I as I was drawing it, I just thought of what it meant, and I said it was like the rune of grace and confidence, so that you always carry yourself with like a, you know, extra added kind of grace and confidence. And it turned out the girl I drew on, her name was Grace. Like, no, kind of weird. That's fine.
You need the ones that already exist, or ones that you can just make up now.
One that you can make up.
The get up in the morning room. That's one thing that, you know, that I can really do with is just getting my motor running without heavy amounts of caffeine in the morning. That could be, if I could draw on myself.
Don't draw right before.
No, even 8 hours of sleep, I'll still get up and for the first hour or two have one eye closed and nearly be hit by a bus. So yeah, very much. If I could be one of those morning people, that would be a great room to have.
Great. Yes, I've got the one. That lovely hat, by the way.
Well, you have some really amazing costumes. What was your favourite item to wear?
Well, before they get into all the complex stuff, I would say my Nike high tops, grey, pink, very cool, very sporty, very vintage.
Probably gunning for a Nike campaign. Maybe my diesel leather pants. From Diesel's listening or watching.
Please help me.
Legal money, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, the leather trousers are great. Everyone's always like, oh, the leather must be really difficult to wear, you know, constricting. Leather's actually a really, versatile material. It's terrific. I've ripped mine, a few times. That's true. That's because I was doing superhero jumps, like, and then the crotch will go, and I'll be like this. We're going to need a clean up on our 3 over.
Stitches as he was wearing
It's weird, yeah.
Over and over.
If you look very closely at some of the sun scenes, you can see that there's like rips appearing and then disappearing, and like it's no, really, our continuity is brilliant. Please, I'll movie love you.
I think for as annoying and impractical as they were, I think the boots, just because they kind of symbolize Clary. I mean, she's delicate like a petal, but she's also like a tough cookie. So to be able to wear those boots and do all the things that I did, and to still keep up with the guys, I think it's pretty cool. And it's also trained me to run around the city in heels when I need be.
Clary's like an armadillo. Right?
Thank you.
Hard on the outside and soft on the inside, you know? Yeah?
Like an onion, she has layers.
She makes you cry.
My favourite was my big directorial jacket that I could wear whenever they were freezing the
Yeah, oh, don't even. Remember that.
Remember those rain machines?
Yes, I do.
They had a special ability to make you absolutely soaked to the bone within about 4 seconds of them being on. And we spent a whole evening shooting under those babies, didn't we?
And it made your acting so much better.
It made me, yeah, all that shivering on camera.
Yes, it's real.
Yes.
Hi guys, congratulations on a fantastic film first of all.
Thank you very much.
I guess obviously at the heart of what is this really big epic fantasy adventure is quite a relatable love triangle. And I guess my first question is what it was like for each of you working on that, and specifically for Lily. For Clary, why do you think it's important to have 2 very different relationships with both Simon and Jace?
First, I think it's somewhat of a love cube. You gotta remember Alec. That's Jace. I think, I don't know, I've not been in a love cube before. Yeah, no, I think, you know, when Janie walked into the first audition room, that was pretty much just it. Like, right away, it was created. Whatever needed to be created was created. And then we both walked into the room with Robbie, and then they are so different in real life that they embody their characters perfectly in those different ways, and I'm just kind of in the middle of these 2 competing characters. And so I don't think there was any work needed to be done when it came to like this triangle situation, because they both, we were so open to improv on the set, and it kind of was like, and I said it's my Clary, it's only the Clary that she was because Janie was his Jace, and then entered Robbie and he became Simon. So I think it's never, it's weird to be in the middle of 2 guys, again, not something that I've done. Imagine, it's pretty weird.
Well, we can relate.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important for Clary because it's kind of like having the angel and the devil on your shoulders. She's just figuring out who she is, and sometimes it takes figuring out what you don't like to know what you do, or what you do like to know what to avoid. And, you know, she sees pros and cons in both Jace and Simon, and she finds pieces of herself within both people. And I think it's really about her, the romance never defines Clary, which I really loved about this particular franchise, is that it's not just a girl stuck between 2 guys, it's a girl who, you know, finds herself in a situation, but she never lets it victimize her or define her journey. So I think it's important to have 2 types of men, because there are more than 2 types of men in this world. I mean, you could easily categorize them in 2 categories, but I won't. No, I'm just saying there are ways. Good, bad. So yeah, I think it's, I don't know, she finds pieces of herself within each person, and I think to have that physical choice is just a metaphorical kind of exploration of herself.
I think, you know, also, I think every character goes on their own journey, you know. Jace is a shadow hunter prior to the movie starting. Jace is, you know, that's he goes out there and he kills demons and he sort of protects the human world. His world is turned upside down by her introduction, so his entire motivation and, you know, shift is because of her entrance. Now then, I don't want to speak on Robert's behalf here, but Simon has been someone who's been a part of Clary's life, and so, he is thrown into the world of the Shadowhunters, and then he's trying to find his voice at the same time. So it was never something that, we came at together and went, this is the main focus of our story. The main focus is actually the journey that each character specifically has to go on, which is what makes it an ensemble and actually what makes it an interesting piece, because you can relate to every single character. I can see bits of myself in all of them. There's not one character that I think, I don't understand what that person's going through. I think for each of us, we were very focused on, our own journey within our own sort of love story, I suppose.
The thing about it as well is Simon very much, even as he's tumbling into this crazy other world, in a way, Clary is very much his focus. She's the hand that he's holding on to, and it's funny that as he's experiencing this world, the thing I think that irks him the most is not all of the downworlders and the demonic forces. It's the fact that Clary is falling for this other guy, and that's probably the thing that for Simon, because I think probably he's no romantic, but that he's kind of seeing this happen. That's kind of the subtext, I think, for his journey, until, of course, he puts his hand to the fire and declares his love for her. So it was nice, because that's his focus, that's his thread through this world. Yeah.
I think we've got time for one more question, and then we're going to have to wrap this up. So no pressure, but this is going to be the final question. You put your hand down, Mason. No, you can't.
That was a good question anyway.
Can't handle pressure. Okay, I'll go for it. Sorry, it's not very inventive. But Jamie mentioned earlier a little bit about some of the pressures that you face when you're casting such well-loved characters. And I wondered if you could Harold could just talk us through a little bit of the casting process, and also about how you got some of the older characters involved, like Lena. Sorry, Lena calling you older, but some of the older cast members like Lena Headey and Aidan.
Well, Lily was already on board when I decided to do the movie. She was part of the reason why I wanted to do the movie. And then Jamie was a hot candidate. I was aware of some of the chit-chat out there. I completely ignored that. I thought that was totally irrelevant. I thought he was absolutely perfect. And in my mind, I always keep thinking something I learned from advertising is that you shouldn't give people what they want. They deserve so much better. And so I thought the two of them were already perfect. And then he was, he didn't look anything like Simon. So we had to do a little bit of, see him with the glasses and just envision him. And I thought also you did a fantastic job in your accent, which is also completely convincing. So these guys were pretty much already the really hottest candidates. And like I said, I had conversations with Cassandra, and we looked at the chatter online, and we decided we're going to go for the ones we think is best, because you can never avoid that stuff. I think, like Jared and Lena, I just wanted the movie to be filled with incredibly great actors, just like the Harry Potter series. No matter how tiny the part is, they're really, really great actors delivering the lines with the biggest conviction. I think Alex also, his character is a complex character, which I think is quite a ballsy move of him, and he does it very, very well. And funny enough, Isabel was the one that, doing this in Hollywood, you get presented with the hotties.
We did readings.
Yeah, we did readings with the hotties. And then finally, but none of them were Isabel, because we didn't want her to be just that. We wanted her to be a little more. And we looked high and low. We found Jemima in Paris. She lives in Paris. She's more French than British. And I think she's an incredible right idea. She was maybe not as much as what the fans wanted, but she's a very smart and intelligent, incredibly, matter-of-factly and tough girl. So I felt all the way that I felt very confident in what I wanted, and I had the support of Cassandra. And then we just decided to basically, more or less ignore if some of the fans, because there weren't all of them. I mean, what Jamie's saying is there were just a few. Overall, there was a great response to Jamie, and it's just that, like Jamie's saying, these very few have a very loud voice all of a sudden through the media. But I guess you just have to trust your own instincts.
I like your description of Jemima just then.
Yeah, that was good.
That was good. You could have just gone, she's great. It's very matter of fact, very straight down the line, very smart, intelligent, beautiful woman. She's just incredibly Parisian and
Guys, thank you very much for all your questions there. That's all the time we have.
Thank you, guys.
That's it. Jamie Campbell Bower, Robert Sheehan, and
Right.
yeah, if you could just stay in your seats for a moment, just stay in your seats for 2 seconds while the casting through.
Oh, sweet.
Look at us in the eye.
Okay, I'll go. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
See you, folks.
They were looking for Isabel. I'm like, hey. She's a bit young, one of them. Yeah, and my phone's like full up. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. Get back to me.
Oh, yeah.
Dropped off the shit out of the two.
I got ready with the winner.
I can't remember.
James, just bear with us in a couple of minutes. We'll let you know when it's clear.
Well, I got one. Let me sat down. Oh, look at my phone.
Is that your one? Is it working?
Thank you. There's about 50 people outside the after school. Should we go and say hello?
Yeah.
Might as well. Yeah, Zoe, just let me know.
That's my amazing photography skills.
I didn't. My camera clicked over the shit.
No, it's more important to record it than to take pictures. No.
Yeah. Well, I thought that those were just there. So what is
Well, they would have had photos. I don't need to worry about it. I don't.
Alright. Is it good? I'm bringing out my
When you get your action, more your action onto your belt, you know.
Well, my phone is just really here.
And it's such a
19th of August, my dear.
Oh, look.